Podcasting from somewhere in the San Francisco Bay Area, the birthplace of Bruce Lee, the iPhone, and the bendy straw. This is Ruel's Running Podcast, a podcast about running, health, family, play, and an NSNG lifestyle. And now, here's your host, Ruel.
There was a dream a million miles away. There was fire in
Amazon.com. You know, I won't be surprised if more and more stuff that I shop for, buy, and get shipped to my home comes from Amazon. It's just a reality, right? And if this is your reality, go to ruelsrunning.com, click through to the Amazon banner to get to Amazon. Why am I asking you to do so? Well, it is a no-cost-to-you way. If you like listening to Ruel's Running Podcast, it is a way that you can help the show out without spending more than you've already spent while shopping at the good folks at Amazon.com. So help us out. Go to ruelsrunning.com, click through to the Amazon.com site, and shop, connect, and enjoy. Hey everybody, how are you? How am I? Thanks for asking. Trying to get better every day. Have you guys ever heard that response before? A lot of times folks just automatically say, I'm good, I'm fine, thanks. And then I had a friend who, whenever I asked how he was doing, he automatically came back with, I'm fine, and you? And so it was a way where he automatically turned it around. You know, like I was hoping to catch up with him, find out how things are going in his world, and he quickly turned it around right from the get-go. Yeah, so trying to get better every day. Some days, I feel like I'm on top of that mountain, and other days I feel like I'm just stuck in this valley, the low places. And then there's a lot of times where it's sort of like, in the middle somewhere, kind of I'm either way, and that ain't a bad place to be. Yeah, so hey guys, what in the world did I tune into? Oh my gosh, I was just looking for a podcast about running, and this dude just starts talking about head stuff. I'm out of here. Hey guys, this is Ruel, your host. Yep. If you are a new listener, yeah, that's just a little taste of what not to expect, but you get. If you are a new listener, return listener, what's up, guys? Welcome back. But all in all, thanks everybody for tuning in. So I guess what I want to start off, I want to talk about a couple of things, and then I'll kind of I'll ramble off in other directions and ad hoc this episode. And so first, as I slap my knee or my thigh, first I want to just say, if you guys haven't heard the previous episode where I sort of this long recap of the 50K run, the Lake Chabot Trail, Red Tail Ridge Trail Run, that's there for your listening enjoyment. It's the longest episode I've done that I can recall, like 2 hours. Oh my gosh. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed talking about my running, and it's good stuff, I like to think. So anyways, check that out. There's also a blog post on ruelsrunning.com. I was messing around with the kitchen, cooked something I feel pretty awesome. I've done it a couple times already. It's the grain-free, gluten-free chicken katsu. If you guys don't know what chicken katsu is, you can find it at a Hawaiian restaurant or a Japanese restaurant. It's basically sort of a breaded, fried chicken cutlet. There you go. But I didn't use wheat flour and wheat bread and any of that stuff. So I realized sometime after I posted that post that I had one piece of the ingredients I mistaken an ingredient for something else. But guess what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't change the recipe too much. It's basically, when you do a breading, I'm going to quickly go into some food chat. When you want to bread something for fry, you take that something, put a base coating of some sort of, traditionally you're putting like a flour, and then you do the egg wash, and then you do the breading, right? So the flour substitute I had mentioned was cassava flour, but in actuality I used arrowroot. And arrowroot flour is basically a substitute for cornstarch, so it really doesn't matter. You can go either way. I can't taste the difference. And then there was a little tip that I didn't add, but I'll put it here on the podcast, is when I'm heating up the oil, and it's not your junky canola vegetable oil, it's bacon grease. I've just got all this saved bacon grease for times for cooking, and I have so much for the certain times when I want to deep fry stuff. So I've got the bacon grease just going in the cast iron. I love cast iron. The cast iron, it's a mini cast iron Dutch oven. It's the deepest cookware that we have that's cast iron. So I'll put the bacon grease in there and I'll heat it up nice and good. But what I'll do is, not even sure if it impacts the flavor, but it sure makes cooking it fun for me, is I'll take some cloves of garlic and I'll toss it in the oil. So as that sort of heats up in the oil, it smells great if you love the smell of garlic. And then I'll fry the coated meat in the oil while that's going on. And then I'll pull out, depending on how long I'm taking to cook stuff, the garlic may need to come out because it's just gonna get burned to a crisp. Yeah. Anyways, so check that out. That's at ruelsrunning.com, and it's one of the recent posts called something like grain-free chicken katsu. I'm behind. I didn't post a website post for the 50K episode for those who look forward to finding episodes straight off the website, but I will. I'll get to it. So I want to talk about how I've been. It's been weeks and weeks since the run. I've had at least I've had 2 lunch runs since then around the office. I'm in San Francisco, and if you're Facebook friends with me, I've posted at least one of those pictures of one of those runs. Just certain cool things that I saw while on the run. Certain landmarks in the city that people are familiar with. But visually, I think they're awesome. Not because I'm claiming to be a great photographer, even though I was somewhat of a photographer in my past life. From my perspective, everything is still pretty new in the city for me. Even though I've lived in the Bay Area for quite some time, and it's not new, but it just visually it is. It's new for me. So I figure, maybe there's a few of my Facebook friends that feel the same way. And I took pictures of cool stuff, and it makes me happy when I see them, and the iPhone sure makes it easy to take pretty decent or sometimes pretty awesome pictures and share them. So yeah, I've done at least a couple of runs. I still need to find time, a schedule, or something that allows me to get more running in. I'm trying to figure out what to do next. And I feel once I lock down on that next thing, then it'll force me into a mode where I should be more regimented with how I approach getting my runs and some level of training. So that's what's happening. What I've done, about my body has healed up pretty well. There was some tenderness around my knees, and that's just purely because I feel like I hadn't been conditioned for as long as I was out there. Things could have been worse. At any rate, I about a week ago, right, I stepped on the scale. I hadn't done it in a long while. And the reason why I hadn't done it in a long while, the weight scale, the bathroom scale, is because the thing had a dead battery. So I knew not to step on it. And I didn't really care. But then I started noticing, that, yeah, I am out of shape, right? Even after doing, folks who don't run, who listen, who think that running alone keeps you in shape, can keep you in shape for running, but it doesn't mean it'll, get you healthy, right? Or your body composition the way it ought to be, you imagine it to be. And what I mean by that was, yeah, here I was, I've done that level of running. It was just that one time, right? I did the event, and I'm not regularly out exercising. I know that my nutrition had been suffering for several months as I dealt with a job change, and I've been really lax with how I ate. And over the course of, I want to say, over 6 months, it finally took its toll. I was fortunate enough that I had enough of a 4-year base, metabolically, that allowed that, I've taught myself to intermittent fast, to operate off of fat, to not be carb dependent. So I was fortunate enough to have that base so that I can accomplish that run. But, here I was, not at my optimal weight, I'd look at myself in the mirror and say, yeah, I'm getting soft all around my face and on my gut. I've been here before. I gotta quit. I gotta stop this from progressing. Fortunately, all my clothes still fit, right? I'm still in a size that is a size that I never thought I would be since after high school, but being NSNG has allowed me to drop a significant amount of mass, right? That allowed me to fit in a small shirt and a size 28, waist pants, and and nowadays, jeans are just ridiculous. They're like mega ultra skinny and tight, and it's kind of wrong, right? But on those rare occasions where I have to get some new clothes, I find myself testing out certain sizes and surprising myself that, I forgot that I'm no longer that thick guy that I once was. That kind of takes a long time. I don't know if it'll ever go away. So it's I don't know if that's healthy, but yeah, it's not all the time, right? But yeah, so here I was, not feeling optimal body wise, and needing to make a change. And so here's what's happened, right? Through my wife, she wanted to do some sort of experimentation to help see if she can improve her sleep, and by recommendation of her functional medicine doctor, she tested out going on basically it's a nutritional shake type fast, right? And I'm familiar with the fasting, the intermittent fasting. I've operated that way for a long time. It's so fashionable that it's called intermittent fasting and fasting, but what it all boils down to, and it's talked about in this podcast before, where it's just, you get up in the morning and you're not having that traditional mealtime breakfast to break that fast, and able to do so because I'm not hungry. I've learned to operate by fat, and there's no blood sugar dips, and that cause me to feel hungry, and I ordinarily can just trickle through coffee and some fat via cream or coconut oil or coconut cream, and make it through a good part of the day before I actually get hungry. Nothing unhealthy about that. It's just listening to your body. Anyways, so I'm familiar with fasting based on my own experiences. So my wife wanted to try this type of fast. It involved a shake that's bought. It's a product, and so I kind of I helped sort of talk her through some of the ways she can approach it so that she's not miserable. The cool thing is the shake, it really isn't that bad. I personally wouldn't take it because it does have a level of sweetener in it, but aside from that, there are worse things that a person can consume, and I'm not advocating that you go on something like this. I'm not advocating that you go on something like this, especially for a prolonged period of time. This was just sort of her experiment to see if for 2 or 3 days, if she were to be on this sort of protocol, that would it help her sleep at all. And so she did the shake, and the shake is a mixture of water and the powder and flaxseed oil, and threw into ice to help keep it nice and cold and kind of slushy. So the idea was basically she would just have that, right, for 3 days. She would have it whenever she felt she was hungry. She would have it if she felt like she needed a snack. She would drink water. It was just that. And so she made it through the 3 days, and it wasn't easy. It was like, oh, this is interesting. Second, it was like, oh, I'm starting to feel hungry. This is miserable, but just keep plugging away. And then third day, she's kind of gotten used to the routine, but by that time she was practically running out of the smoothie mix powder, and it was enough of an experiment for her to realize, like, yeah, it's not helping her sleep at all. I mean, helping her sleep, improve her sleep. And even if it did, right, the idea of continually being on that product just for the sake of sleep didn't seem right. It would, if it did help her sleep, I said, then we'd have to figure out, how we can emulate what that product is doing with real food, so that you don't have to constantly buy the powder and stuff, right? It's kind of, whenever you're dependent on a manufactured product or thing like that, I think that's a problem, And I used to be that way early on, my old self, before the shift, before the pivot to an SNG. I used to rely on the Atkins store-bought Atkins shakes, as a part of a breakfast, and at the time didn't know any better, and I approached it as, I'll just keep consuming this stuff and it'll help me with my weight loss goals. But it's ridiculous, right? Because when you don't have access to those products, then you're lost. I was lost. I didn't know what to do with my meal times when I didn't have access to those things. I kind of went all over the place, and then the spiraling, the mental breakdown, the I'm a loser, I'm off my plan, I gotta start all over again, I suck, right? So yeah, relying on the store-bought stuff, it's horrible. It's not natural, right? Anyways, so she went through the experiment, and then she called it quits, and at the end of the third day, just went for real food. Went for her old smoothies, which were the green smoothies that I make often for her, with kale and almonds and broccoli and coconut cream and some berries and like a carrot and a celery, and lately it's been, in addition to the coconut cream, there's also a splash or 2 or 3 of MCT oil, so she gets the Vitamix shakes regularly. She's back on those, but she's back to eating regular food. So was it a failure? As far as trying to see if it would help her sleep, yes. It was, and I don't think 3 days is significant enough time to make that improved amount of sleep. And here's the other down thing about getting a product is she bought a small tub of the stuff, right? And it costs. It's not cheap. But that was called their sample or their demo, their trial tub of the stuff, right? So she was able to try it out for 3 days. Folks who are committed to that way of, I don't know what you would call it, nutritional plan based on that product. You have to buy more and more of the stuff. And there's a place for things like that. I think I've read, at least medically, where medically you just can't absorb foods that a person normally would because of digestion issues and this and that, and you need nutrients or you'll die. So that's when those products are most appropriate, right? So I'm not saying that they're garbage. Not all of them are garbage, and there are some that really have awesome ingredients, and they're packaged, and they're put together really well, and then you got to be careful. You just got to know what you're looking for. So this particular product was not bad at all. Anyways, so walked away from that experiment. Her sleep wasn't helped, but my wife learned that she was able to go through those 3 days and be okay not having those traditional meals, right? She was okay with this idea of she could fast one shape or form and get by and still be able to do the things that she needs to do. Not saying that she should be on a liquid or a smoothie nutritional thing every time, because you don't want to do that. You can do it however long you want, but the body's meant to do so much more and consume so much more than just pulverized food in a blender. There's no reason why she shouldn't consume regular food. So that was a thing, because now what I'm noticing is we can get at the end of a work day and have the family home. We'll take care of the kids' dinners, and she's not too quick to jump at, I gotta have my dinner too, right? She's learned, and she's even expressed how, that fasting approach had taught her to not be so hungry for some reason. It's just something that happened. So that's cool, right? When you can learn that when you can get to a point where you can listen to your body because you've already provided enough fuel and nutrients to be okay, you know, just follow that. Follow what your body is telling you to, you know, and not based on some sort of scheduled meal time that is out there that we've learned in
Coming
this
up,
culture.
Rue gives us something else to think about. How vague is that, Ruel? Geez. Could you be any vaguer, Ruel? Well, it's all coming up on Ruel's Running. Okay, the book is called Eat Happy, Gluten-Free, Grain-Free, Low-Carb Recipes for a Joyful Life by me, Anna Vicino. Eat Happy has 154 delicious grain-free, gluten-free recipes that are also free of any processed sugars. There are meats, fish, sides, soup, starters, casseroles, slow cooker recipes, breakfast dishes, and even desserts to satisfy any sweets craving you might have, all with virtually no sugar. If you are low-carb, paleo, are wanting to keep autoimmune issues at bay, or just want to lose extra weight, Eat Happy gives you comfort food where you won't miss the sugars or grains, so your body and brain can feel happy from eating real foods. Okay, go get it then. Now's your chance. Yay! Yay!
Anyways, so why am I talking about all of this? Well, because it made me pay attention. Her sort of like the little lessons she learned about fasting and herself, that self-learning thing, whatever. It made me sort of revisit the whole idea of fasting in myself. And you know, I've caught a few other fasting-related posts online that even, you know, stuck in my head. So with me not being happy of how sort of deconditioned I've become, I've decided to test out, you know, have my own experiment. What if I took my intermittent fasting and kind of went longer, right? So I did that on a Monday. You know, I sort of let the weekend ride because the weekend was just full of stuff that, you know, with the family and there was no way I would be able to get things sorted. So I sort of committed to, on the weekdays, you know, when I'm out in the office, out at work, out around the office, I can decide. I have control. I can decide to when to eat, right? And so on a Monday, I got up and did what I usually did: make coffee and a little splash of heavy cream. That's at home. I trickle that through the morning as I go through the family morning routine. And then, you know, en route to work, or when I get to work, you know, I'll make a coffee, you know, black, and I'll trickle that through, you know, through the rest of the morning. And then, depending on the day, I may have had a nice walk, or I would have had a nice run during lunchtime. And then post run or walk, you know, I'll go get myself another coffee, another black coffee, right? And I'm not like pounding these coffees. They're basically just sort of sitting on the desk, and I'll sip on it, and I'll sit, and I'll sip, and I may not even finish it, you know, but I may get tired of it because it's so cold that I'll either ditch it so that I won't really finish it. And then I'll get home, and I'll, you know, I'll start to think, okay, this is where now I have to stretch the fast to test out, right? So, am I really hungry? Am I like suffering from hunger pains, or am I just sort of like falling into my body has this expectation that it's going to get into some food, but I'm trying to ask my body, do you really need to eat now? Can you be okay? Have a sip of water, you know, then ask the question in 10 minutes, will you be okay? You know, maybe have another coffee with a little cream, then ask the question, are you hungry? Are you going to be okay? I do that enough, and guess what? You know, I hit 24 hours. And how do I know I hit 24 hours? Because I would just remember the night before, I would have maybe finished eating at 10, say in the evening, right? Eating something. And I did this, that, because I remember I made something awesome. And I posted something about it on Facebook. So I remember, okay, 10. So basically 10 in the evening to 10 in the evening without having anything to eat, right? That's what happened. I'm like, cool, that's me. I just hit 24 hours of this sort of fast where I only allowed water, coffee, a little bit of cream, nothing to spike my blood sugar. Awesome. Then I ate. All right, I ate. I had I can't remember what I had, but I had food. And it only took me like 15 minutes to eat something that I was like really full. So I basically did that type of stuff throughout the week. Monday I did 24 hours. Tuesday I did like 23 and a half or something like that. Wednesday did 24. And then Thursday did I think I did 23 again, or 23 to 4. So basically 23 or 24. So I've been doing these practically a day worth of fasting for the week. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right? And you remember in the beginning when I talked about getting on a scale because I was able to, now that the battery was now that I had replaced that battery. Well, I replaced the battery, got on the scale, weighed myself, and you know, in addition to what I saw in the mirror, I was able to confirm on the weight scale, like, yeah, I'm not where I want to be. I was what was I? I was 147 and some change, right? You know, my perceived ideal weight is 140. You know, when I was really sort of more active with my midday runs, I can get down as low as like 135, right? So sweet spots for me are between 135 and 140, right? I'm not a tall guy. I'm 5'6", and so there I was, 147, right? Thinking, okay, from, if I were to take the 147 and 135, I could argue that, you know, I've put on 12 pounds, right? From my most optimal weight. Excuse the crashing. So I'm like, okay, I could argue that, you know, I'm 7 pounds away from, you know, my ideal weight. Either way, it's like, look at that. So that wasn't too long ago when I started this, the extended fast sort of approach. So now I'm down to 141 and some change. So yeah, I lost a little bit of weight within a week's time. You know, less than a week, I've been able to drop from 147 to 141, and not, you know, not feeling crappy along the way. So it's a neat lesson. And you know, I like testing my body, you know, and you know, at least one of those days, of those extended fast days, you know, I had done a run, and it was And it wasn't an easy run, there were hills involved. But it's sort of those, it's still a test because I come off of a day where I've done a 24-hour fast, right? Then follow the next day, smack dab in the middle of another sort of extended fast. I'm going on a run. It's kind of warm and it's not easy. So, follow up the next day with a walk. So nothing too strenuous, but I'm able to test, how my body does, when it fasts. So I just thought I'd share that a little bit. I'm not, I don't know, it's just sort of, I'm not saying, hey guys, I want you to fast. No, I'm not. At least what I'm saying is, this is what I've done, and this is what I've experienced. And if any of it is interesting to you, you should look into it, right? Look into it. Look at and the one resource that I would recommend is anything from Dr. Jason Fung. He's out of Canada. Gosh, all these emergency vehicles. What's the emergency? So that's that. And yeah, so I'll I'm not looking for a quick fix. As far as I'm curious to see how long, over a longer period of time, what this would mean for me. Would I feel and be healthier, or would I cause problems? And I think folks should be willing to experiment, but also be careful. I think it's better to self-experiment than to operate blindly based on, the current food guidelines and nutritional guidelines. Or if anything, the processed food labeling and packaging. That's even worse. Anyways. So yeah, I'm gonna switch gears now. I need to figure out what to do with the rest of my life. No, I need to figure out what to do with myself, as far as now I'm gonna flip flop to the run chat again. I need to figure out where to take my running next. It feels good to be out there. I set out to do what I wanted to do and to sort of get myself sort of reinitiated into running by doing that 50K. It put me in a level of fitness, put my fitness in perspective, and I want to be able to, I guess, capitalize on that and go further. I've been scoping around online to find out what I can get into, and there is something, but I don't know. I'm not. It's a run where I have the opportunity to attempt another 50K and the opportunity to go further and attempt a 50 miler. But I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that. Still thinking about that one. Yeah. So what I want to do is I'm just gonna call the episode here. Thanks guys for sticking around and listening to me ramble and talk about food experiences and fasting experiences. For the podcast, I do have a number set up, and it's on the website. And other ways you can get a hold of me. And I'm bringing it up because, if you guys have your own experiences with fasting or changing the way you eat, anything, call me up, leave a message, ask a question, leave a comment, and I'll be sure to share that on upcoming episodes. Be good fun. Kind of like our call-in talk show without me actually having to pick up the phone. Yeah, guys. So, yeah. Till the next episode, remember to hug your family, eat something delicious, and go run.
Thanks for listening to Ruel's Running Podcast with Ruel. If you like what you just heard, share it with your friends and your enemies. Also, be sure to check out the site over at ruelsrunning.com. This has been another Coffee with Heavy Cream production. Join us next time for another silly show of Ruel's Running Podcast.